Ancient Indian political theorists observed a brutal reality in nature. They called it Matsya Nyaya, the law of the fish. The strong instinctively swallow the weak. This brutal hierarchy is the default state of humanity. Without the presence of a magistrate or a functional court, human society reverts to this exact aquatic food chain. To prevent this collapse, the scholar Chanakya codified a system of statecraft in a text known as the Arthaśāstra. These laws represent a calculated survival strategy, a structural mechanism designed to stop a civilization from cannibalizing itself. Danda, the scepter, drives this survival mechanism. It represents the physical, coercive power of the state to enforce order and deliver punishment. Wielding this power carries risks. Unrighteous punishment sparks revolt that shatters the state. Conversely, a ruler who is too mild is despised. When the public realizes the scepter has no weight, courts lose authority, and society dissolves into the law of the fish. A ruler's stability depends on exact mathematical proportion. Power exists only in the balance between these two extremes. A Mauryan courtroom operates on cold logic, leaving no room for royal whim or emotional appeals. This ancient passage dictates the mandate of proportionate punishment. The severity of any penalty aligns with the specific gravity of the crime. As the text states, the world is controlled by punishment because absolute guiltlessness is rare. This calibration requires blindness to sadness. The king must apply the exact same standard of punishment to his own son as he would to a sworn enemy on the battlefield. True justice is blind to social rank. If it bends to accommodate personal relationships, it becomes a weapon for the elite. To prevent arbitrary rulings, judgments are constrained by the 4 legs of law, detailed in this foundational text. The first 3 pillars, sacred law, physical evidence, and historical custom, dictate the baseline rules of conduct. The Arthaśāstra includes a specific failsafe. If sacred religious text ever comes into direct conflict with rational operational law, reason must prevail over the ancient scriptures. By legally prioritizing rational truth over religious dogma, the architects of this system ensured that blind faith could never overrule material facts. If the survival of the state relies on the integrity of the courts, a critical problem emerges. Who protects the courts from bribery? The state employs a shadow network of spies and agentar provocateurs. Their mandate is to secretly offer bribes to active magistrates, continually testing the honesty of the kingdom's own legal officials. A judge caught taking a bribe, or one who threatens, browbeats, or unjustly silences a citizen, faces immediate banishment, heavy fines, and the forfeiture of their property. The system does not rely on the moral goodness of its officials. It relies on constant paranoia, where any litigant could be an undercover agent. One final loophole remains. What happens when the king himself punishes an innocent person? The sovereign is not granted immunity. If he perverts justice, he incurs financial debt and risks the stability of his own throne. The law dictates a precise mechanism for this failure. The king must take a massive monetary fine, 30 times the unjust penalty, dedicate it to Varuna, the divine punisher of sinners, and cast it into the water before distributing it to the learned. Absolute power is neutralized the moment the supreme ruler is bound by inescapable financial liability for his own errors. Generations later, under Emperor Ashoka, the Mauryan Empire reached its peak, stretching across the Indian subcontinent. Following a massive war, Ashoka initiated a philosophical shift. He abandoned aggressive military expansion, replacing the strict punitive doctrine of his predecessors with a policy of governance through moral example. He deployed a new class of officials, known as the officers of righteousness. They bypassed local governors to ensure humanitarian policies were carried out fairly across the empire. While earlier texts relied on the terror of the scepter to force order, Ashoka proved that institutionalizing compassion creates a more resilient and unified civilization. Returning to the empty courtroom, the core of ancient Indian statecraft is clear. A state's welfare is rooted in its internal fairness. Armies can capture territory, and taxation can fill royal treasuries. But that accumulated power fails if the legal system is unjust. Yet this judicial infrastructure, from the spies to the officers of righteousness, cannot function without the economic lifeblood managed by the treasury. Justice functions as the invisible physics of the state, the force that prevents a civilization from devouring itself.